There's a moment in your life when the ground beneath you begins to shift. Not with noise, but with silence. Not with answers, but with questions that echo in the dark corners of your soul. You look around, and nothing makes sense anymore. People pull away, plans collapse, your motivation disappears like smoke in your hands, and just when you think the universe has abandoned you, it's actually leaning in, listening, watching, because before your reality changes, you are examined, not by others, but by life itself. Carl Jung believed that true transformation never begins with comfort. It begins in the rubble of your former self. This isn't punishment, it's preparation. That strange quiet you feel? It's not failure. It's the space where your soul is being reshaped. Jung understood that the psyche doesn't evolve by imagining light, but by facing the shadows we've denied, and the universe. It doesn't test you to watch you break. It tests you to reveal who you really are beneath all your masks. Before anything big arrives, the love you asked for, the purpose you crave, the life you imagine, everything false must fall away. Not because you're unworthy, but because you're not ready yet. You don't receive a new reality until you're strong enough to carry it, not with your muscles, but with your integrity, your honesty, and your willingness to release who you once were. In this video, we'll explore how Carl Jung's timeless wisdom explains the silent ways the universe examines your soul through delay, discomfort, chaos, and stillness before it ever delivers the thing you've been praying for. And by the end, you may realize you're not waiting for change. You are the change, being carved breath by breath. Pause here for a moment. Have you ever felt like your entire life was being dismantled right before something new emerged? That moment of collapse before clarity? Tell us in the comments. Your story might help someone else see that they're not alone in their darkness. And if this is already resonating with you, tap the like button and subscribe, not for us, but as a commitment to keep diving deeper into yourself. The illusion of readiness. You keep saying you're ready, ready for the breakthrough, ready for love, ready for peace. But Jung would ask you, which part of you is saying that? Is it your soul, or is it your ego, clinging to the fantasy of change without sacrifice? The truth is, most people aren't afraid of failure. They're afraid of transformation. Because transformation demands that something in you must die. You say you want something new. But are you truly prepared to let go of the identity built around your pain, your patterns, your control? The universe doesn't hand you the life you ask for when you're comfortable. It waits until you're stripped, until your attachments scream, until you surrender, not because you gave up, but because you woke up. That's the examination. Can you let go of the rope you've been clinging to, the version of yourself that only knows how to survive, and walk forward with empty hands? Because it's in that emptiness that the universe places the tools you never knew you needed, but not before, not a moment before. Have you ever clung to something or someone, even though you knew it was no longer helping you grow? Why do you think it's so hard to let go, even when we say we're ready? Share your thoughts in the comments. Someone out there might be holding on just like you, and your story might be their permission to release. The collapse before the shift. Before the soul evolves, it unravels. Carl Jung called this the necessary breakdown of the persona. The false identity we wear to feel safe, accepted, loved. So when your life starts falling apart, it may not be a curse. It may be the universe saying, this version of you can't go where you're asking to go. That's why relationships end unexpectedly, why friendships feel hollow, why the job you once loved becomes unbearable. It's not random, it's surgical. The universe removes what you won't, so that what is real can be revealed. And when you're sitting in that aftermath, confused, grieving, aching for stability, you are being shown a reflection, the limits of your current self. Jung believed that the shadow, all the parts of you you've hidden, will rise during these moments, not to destroy you, but to ask if you're finally ready to stop pretending, to stop negotiating your truth. That's the exam. Not a test of strength, but of honesty. Can you admit that you're afraid? That you've been shrinking to stay comfortable? That maybe you weren't living, you were managing? This is where most people turn back. They say, "Why is this happening to me?" Instead of asking, "What is this trying to show me?" Think about the hardest moment of your life. What did it reveal about you? Not what it took away, but what it made visible. Comment below. Sometimes clarity doesn't come from answers. It comes from reflection. And your reflection could spark someone else's breakthrough. The shadow that blocks the door. Most people think they need more strength to change their lives, more motivation, more willpower, more clarity. But Carl Jung would tell you, you don't need more power, you need more truth. And the hardest truth to face is the one about yourself. You say you want abundance, but secretly, you still fear losing it. You say you want love, but deep down, you still believe you're not enough. You say you want peace, but chaos feels safer because it's familiar. This is the shadow, the unseen self that shapes your choices without your permission. You're not being blocked because you're weak. You're being blocked because your shadow is stronger than your self-awareness. And until you see it, fully, without judgment, you'll keep running in loops. That's why the universe doesn't just change your outer world. It challenges your inner architecture. It tears down the structures built from survival, fear, and control. Because those walls you built to protect yourself, they've become your prison. And no new life can reach a person hiding behind their defenses. Jung wrote that, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." This is the moment you realize you're not being asked to become someone else. You're being asked to become honest about the parts of you that have been silently running the show. What's one belief or habit that you know is holding you back, but you still haven't let go of it? Be brave. Name it in the comments. Sometimes, the most powerful shift begins the moment you see the pattern for what it is. Silence as a spiritual mirror. There will come a time when everything goes quiet. No signs, no synchronicities, no messages from the universe. Just silence. Heavy, still, unexplained. And that silence will terrify you. Not because it's empty, but because it reflects everything inside you. Carl Jung taught that silence is not absence. It is a mirror. It reveals what's left when the noise is gone. Your fears, your loneliness, your longing, your resistance. You'll ask, why isn't anything happening? But something is happening. You're being shown whether your desires were rooted in truth or in your need to escape. The universe watches what you do in the silence. Do you stay aligned? Do you still walk forward, even when no one's clapping, no one's validating, no one's watching? Because that's the real examination. Not when the path is lit, but when you're walking through the fog with nothing but your own soul as a compass. Silence doesn't punish. It purifies. It removes everything shallow. So what remains is only what's real. And if you can withstand that silence, if you can stop demanding and start listening, you'll begin to hear something else. The soft hum of your own becoming. Have you ever gone through a silent season where everything felt paused, stalled, or lifeless? What did it teach you? Share it below. You might be further along your path than you think, and someone else might be right where you once were. The death of the old self. Before any reality changes, there is a quiet funeral that no one attends. It is the death of who you thought you had to be. Carl Jung often spoke of individuation, the sacred process of becoming your truest self. But to do that, the false self must dissolve. The one built on people-pleasing. The one addicted to control. The one who survived pain by becoming smaller, quieter, tougher. And this death is not dramatic. It's subtle. It's the moment you no longer recognize your old dreams, because they weren't really yours. It's the moment you stop chasing what the world calls success and start longing for inner peace instead. This is the price of transformation. You don't get to take your old identity into your new life. Not because it's wrong, but because it's incomplete. The universe doesn't want the polished version of you. It wants the authentic you, the raw you, the honest you, the version of you that doesn't perform to be loved, but simply is. And in being becomes magnetic. This is what it means to be examined by the universe. It's not about what you say you want. It's about who you're willing to stop being so something deeper can emerge. Not perfect, just real. Pause and breathe. What part of your old self are you being called to release right now? Leave a comment, not for us, but for you, to witness it, to speak it into reality. That may be the first step toward letting it go. C6, becoming the version that reality responds to. Carl Jung believed that life mirrors the psyche, that the world you experience is not happening to you, but through you. And so the final exam the universe gives you is not a test of action, but of embodiment. Can you become the version of yourself who no longer needs proof, who no longer begs for signs, who walks in alignment even when the path is invisible? Because when you embody truth, you don't chase transformation. It meets you. It magnetizes to the frequency of your coherence. But you can't fake this. You can't perform worthiness. The universe sees through all of it. That's why your reality won't change just because you want it to. It will change when you become the kind of person who doesn't need the outcome to justify the journey. The one who surrenders not out of weakness, but out of sacred trust. The one who walks away from what no longer fits without needing applause. The one who says, I no longer fear becoming who I really am. That's when everything shifts. Not because the universe changed, but because you did. And when that happens, you no longer wait for the sign. You realize you are the sign. The living signal that something beautiful, true, and irreversible has already begun within you. If this video made you pause, if it stirred something deep in your soul, I invite you to write this in the comments. I am ready to become who I've always been. Not to convince anyone else, but to anchor that truth within yourself. Like this video if it resonated. Share it with someone who's standing on the edge of their own awakening. And subscribe, not just to follow our journey, but to commit to your own. Because here at Self Decode, we don't just share ideas. We walk beside you as you become who you were always meant to be.